can shut the door. Or just crack it if that's... Alright, have a seat. I'll be right with you. I just need to finish this note and I'll be ready. Okay, make yourself comfortable. Did you have a safe trip in camp? You did? Okay. Well, I know sometimes, just depending on the time of day, the traffic can be really brutal, so it doesn't always land on the ideal time slot for some folks, depending on where you live also. I know from my house it's, maybe like 20-minute drive, I think. And that's on a non-construction, smooth traffic day without, too many obstacles like weather and such. And the school year is always worse too. Yeah. That's just the way it is sometimes. All right. I just want to apologize for not seeing you sooner. I know when you called, I had been in a conference and I wasn't in town until just this last Monday, so I had to catch up on some paperwork and some various things, but I'm glad that you were able to make it in. Yeah. It sounded to me like you had some specific things you wanted to explore today. Would you like to tell me more about those? Refresh my memory, if you will. Yes, that's right. So the act of the process, of self-exploration and self-actualization, which are two different things, is very challenging, to say the least, and it requires a lot of us, even though it may seem on the outside like, it's some fairly simple questions and things to consider. But as you know, those questions are by design created to elicit deeper senses and responses and bring you to a place inside yourself that allows you to kind of settle in to the idea of self-reflection and self-awareness and growth. Sometimes it's bumpy, but I think that, at least in my case, I feel we are all a little better off for it. And I think you agree. Yeah. Well, we've had some good conversations so far, and I'm looking forward to working with you. You're very welcome. Very welcome. Let's just get to where we were last time, and that's actually I had a couple of ideas, if you don't mind. There was something that I ran into the other day that I thought was quite interesting. Just get my bearings here. I don't need all this stuff, so let's get these down into a different spot. I might have to work on some organization. Do you think? It's entirely possible. However, so this thing that I got was just kind of by accident, I guess. How do you feel about games? No? Well, what if I told you that it wasn't a game? Instead, it is the Ungame. The Ungame. Isn't that something? Well, it's kind of a dated set of cards in here. However, I think they're interesting enough and thought-provoking enough that I thought we could explore these as an activity together. I think it would go along well with our conversations and your goals to deepen your understanding of the self and how it connects to all the other selves out there. Yeah, it was just kind of tucked away on a shelf. I don't know if anyone even happened to know what it was. And when I opened it, it was kind of clear to me that it was really new. I mean, that no one had ever really utilized it, or if they did, they sure were careful with it. So we can just get started, and we'll just go along and see how it goes. If we think it doesn't seem like it's very helpful or very interesting, we can certainly forego the Ungame, and we can move back to our regular style of visits. So there's these rules that we can either choose to follow or we can choose to ignore. The world should be made of coulds, not shoulds. And I used should in that sentence. Shame on me. These are the rules of success. Success at the Ungame. And just so you know, this was created to give credit to the company Tallycore Incorporated out of Anaheim, California. Back in, I believe I saw the date, was 19, I thought it was 87 or 89, but and that probably explains a little bit of the feeling. It is a bit dated. Oh, well, how nice. Let's just see what the Ungame was all about. This is the lady who invented it, and her name is Rhea Zakish. Rhea Zakish. And it says that when Rhea thought she would never speak again following throat surgery, the California homemaker and mother of two was ordered by her doctor not to talk for several months. The fear of never regaining her voice was a horrifying thought to Rhea, who was involved in many volunteer projects, such as teaching Sunday school, being a den mother, singing in a Lutheran choir, donating endless hours to PTA and school activities, and coaching her sons in music lessons, sports, activities, and homework assignments. The experience at first, traumatic, became a challenge, and she was forced to devise her own ways to communicate and found herself forced to listen to others. It was this dramatic experience that led to the development of a unique communication game called the Ungame. Not being able to talk gives one plenty of time to become more aware and to think. She began to realize as a family they had not shared their feelings on many subjects. And this quotes her. I had not instilled in my children the things that were important to me. Even my husband didn't really know me. I worried about the things I had neglected to say and regretted some of the things I had said. The more Rhea watched and listened to others, she realized that people, whether parents, children, husbands, wives, or organization members, weren't listening to what was being said to them. From her frustration at her inability to communicate verbally came the concept for the game. And they quote, I wrote down every question I wished people would ask me and all the questions I wanted to ask them but couldn't. These questions later became an integral part of her now new communication concept. The first time her family sat down to play her new creation, quote, we learned more about each other in 20 minutes than we had in 12 years. Rhea said she was able to express her feelings by writing them on paper, and much to her surprise, no one walked away from her during the games, as people did at other times. Next, she shared the game with some friends who begged her to make a copy for them because their families had gotten out of the habit of talking to each other also. And after making several hundred handmade Ungames and seeing the remarkable things that happened when family and friends opened up new channels of communication with one another, Rhea decided to find a way to get the Ungame mass-produced commercially. And the rest is history. Rhea regained the use of her voice after she discovered a more effective way to communicate, and the Ungame has become the most popular communication game with sales of over 1 million units. Oh, this isn't. I had this question and now I'm answering it. Oh, and it was made in 1989. I was a little bit off on that. The question I had was, why is it called the Ungame? This is kind of a funny name, I think. The Ungame is different from other games in that there is no competition, and there are no losers or complicated strategies. And most games would have players pretending to be something or pretending to do something. The Ungame encourages players to be real and honest, whether lighthearted or serious. So it is not a game, it is an Ungame. And why should players remain silent except on their turns? It says that silence encourages players to listen to each other and develop respect and acceptance, and players will be more apt to be open and honest. If you would like to question or comment, you must wait until you draw a question or comment card. Oh, it must be in here. What is the purpose of the question comment card? These can become the most important part of the Ungame players, as they have the opportunity to respond to one another by showing interest and concern. The question comment cards give time to say, I understand, I'm sorry, can I help you? Or simply, what is your favorite hobby? Can we mix these cards from deck 1 and deck 2 together? Deck 1 is designed to elicit quick, lighthearted responses, and often there will be laughter and joking, which makes this deck enjoyable for parties and pleasure time. Deck 2 contains questions dealing with feelings, values, and memories such that may invoke an emotional response where laughter and joking might not be appropriate. Well, that's fun. And any number of people can play. Up to 8 people is ideal. And the more honest and intimate the responses, the more beneficial it will be. Will we get tired of the same questions? Well, they say no, because the answers will change as people grow and learn and mature and make discoveries. Also, you add new players in different settings, affecting the responses to the Ungame questions. What if someone can't or chooses not to answer? It is acceptable to say pass, or I'll have to think about this, or I don't feel comfortable talking about this. And the player on the left draws a card, and the game moves on. Well, that's kind of an in-depth review, but apparently it's recommended and endorsed by psychologists, teachers, ministers, and parents. Be sure to shuffle the cards first. Okay, well, that's been officially handled, I think. I'm not such a good shuffler. I think this is something that you could do like on a kind of a regular basis, maybe every third session we could grab a handful of cards from the Ungame and explore. What do you think? Yeah. There we go. That's a start. My mom used to be so good at shuffling cards. I don't even know if I could do it. A little bit. They're kind of small. And this is what they were talking about. This is a question and comment card. So it's question or comment. It says that everyone is able to share without interruption, challenges, or criticism, but when you draw this card, you may ask the player one question or make one comment to the player you choose. I would assume that the comments would have to be constructive and not, just couched as comments, but they're really criticisms. So we should be thoughtful about that in our responses. I will use my strong skin to not take anything too personally. Yeah, we can take turns if you want to. You feel like we should both have to participate in it. Well, I'm fine with that. If you'd like a little bit, maybe lightly explore that. Sure, you bet. So, what should we do? Shall we take like the easy cards? I shouldn't call them easy, but maybe do one or two of the first pile. The deck 1, which is supposedly the light-hearted ones. And then we can also do some from deck 2, which will be the more in-depth, emotional based ones. That's from my understanding. Okay, so I'll just give these a toss. I need like a poker professional to help me here. That should be, hopefully. Okay. I keep a little fuzz in my nose. I think it's my kitty cat. It's kind of nice to think that there's no rules of the game, though. I mean, it says rules for success, but that's not, it's not the game rules. So, I'm just going to set the box over here so that I can make room for my notes. Two stacks. I should switch sides because I'm a southpaw. Do you know what that means? Southpaw? Can you guess? It is left-handed. Yep. I got that term from my grandfather a long time ago. Okay, 1, 2. 1 and 2. So, do you have a preference on who goes first? No? I'm going to go ahead, if you don't mind. I'm just going to take a few notes because it's going to be Interesting, right? I'll get my pencil. Are you picky about your writing utensils? Sometimes I can be. But in this case, for some reason, I've really been using pencils a lot. I don't know if it's just a phase or what reasons I have, but just kind of been hooked on pencils. Yeah, maybe because it's natural. I feel like I'm more in tune with nature. I don't know if that's quite it. I may decide to switch if I don't like it. Oh, nice good cards. Okay. I'll just do this. We'll just do eeny meeny, shall we? Or should we do rock paper? Okay. I remember how to do it. Are you ready? Okay. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, okay. Let's go again. Rock, paper, scissors. Okay, one more time. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, okay. I guess it's me. No, wait. Then it's you then, because I won. Okay. So, we're going to play. Ungame day. Now what's the date again? Do you know? What's that? Oh yeah, okay. So alright, and then we'll probably just do player one. I don't know that I'm not going to obviously keep score, but we can make notes of each person's responses, maybe. I'd like to be able to reflect on this a little later when I'll just have some time to think a little more deeply about our responses and where they come from. Let's do the first deck, just for fun. The party deck. Okay. Oh, well, this is one of the question or comment cards. So, I know we just began, but do you have any questions or comments for me? Oh, did I always enjoy psychology? I would say probably somewhat. I did. I was probably too young to know what it was that I liked about, but but I think I've always been, even when I was little, interested in people and sensitive maybe to people's feelings, like they're just what, if they have something going on inside and they're sad or they're tense. It seemed like I just was very absorbent in that I would carry or notice in myself the similar feelings that someone else might be going through that I happen to see or observe or be near. And sometimes that was good and sometimes not, but yeah. So I guess the answer is I have always, that I know of. That's a good question. Psychology. Yeah, okay. Just put the used pile. Okay, it's your turn. Do you want to pick from deck 1 or deck 2? 2? 2. Okay, here, you want to read it? Okay. Well, let me see. All right. So my question is, if I could have a committee of 3 people, living or dead, to help me make decisions, whom would I choose? 3 people, living or dead. Oh, wow. That's tough. 3 people, living or dead. I would say I would pick my grandfather would be one, because he was very smart. He was very reserved, conservative, somewhat grouchy man, but he was very interested in history, and I think he was a nice person, even though he didn't always show it. I think he would be a good advisor. And then my second advisor, or committee member, I should say, on my living or dead committee members, would be the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh. He was a remarkable man of peace, and he was a Buddhist monk and just passed away a couple of years ago, right after Christmas. And he was just one of the wisest people and the most centered and understanding and compassionate people that I can think of. So I think he would be a very good advisor and a committee member to help me make decisions, which I could definitely use the help, I think. So, and then the third, living or dead. I just picked 2 dead people, so maybe someone living. I would pick my girlfriend, and we call her Brandles. She's very even-keeled and logical, and she's not driven by strong emotions in the way that I can be. So she provides a very nice contrast and stability and insight to decisions that often helps me day to day. So I would bring her along as my committee member, my living committee member. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Do you want to take a shot at that, just for the heck of it? We can go both ways. All right, go ahead. Tell me. Oh yeah. And what grade was that in? So, you're a 3rd grade teacher. Nice. And then who else? Okay. Sure. Yeah. Very good idea, and makes a good point of having someone constant in our lives, if we can. And then the last one. Oh, that's fun. A totally unique perspective, isn't it? Okay. Should we do another one? Okay. Should we do the tech one again? Okay, well, so we can switch back and forth. This is an interesting question. What are 3 things? 1, 2, 3. 3 things that you would like to be doing in 1, 2, 3 years. 3 years. 3 things, 3 years. Is that like 1 goal a year or something? 3 things in 3 years, okay. And what is the first thing? And the second? Okay. And then last one. All right. I like that. Those are all very nice. Very nice. See, I'm learning things already. And of me, what 3 things would I like to be doing in 3 years? Boy, I think these are not the easiest. 3 things. Geez. I would say in 3 years, I would like to be better at Spanish. That sounds silly, but I really liked it in college and I didn't stick with it, and so I kind of lost some of my skills, and I'd like to be able to speak Spanish again, or at least better than I did or do. So maybe go take a class or something, or get involved in some cultural community events that would help me support that. I would like to begin a consistent physical activity, either walking or like some kind of sporting thing, like swimming, it could be golf, but something that's active, that's consistent, so that I move my body, because as I get older, I feel like it's more difficult, and I can sense the arthritis and the achy joints kicking in sometimes. So physical activity, I would like to have that, not just vaguely, but a specific activity that I do. I'd say maybe 3 times a week would be a good goal, 2 or 3 times a week. Okay. That's what I'll say. And then the third one would be to have set aside 2 hours a week that have no technology and no busyness, and they are 2 hours that are specifically in order to reflect, maybe to write, to meditate, but not to interact with anyone, just time to reflect. No phone, just the sounds of whatever's outside, birds and whatnot. Yeah, I would like to do that. Those would be my goals. Excellent. We can do one more. We have 45 minutes today, so if we do one more, we would be at our time for this visit. Okay. I'm just gonna switch sides here. Are you enjoying this so far? Yeah, that's kind of a fun change from the usual. All right. So take 2, right? To wrap it up. I don't know what this is going to be. Do you want me to read it? Okay. The topic. It says, share a childhood experience of embarrassment. Share a childhood experience of embarrassment. Oh, that's kind of challenging, isn't it? Did you experience a lot of embarrassment when you were young? Do you think you felt particularly embarrassed by something or someone at some point in your life? I think we all do. Tell me about that. Tell me about that. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I'm sure. I can imagine that you felt pretty embarrassed, didn't you? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I am. Oh, okay. Well, you're not alone. I promise you that. You are not. that is such a common experience, unfortunately. Yeah. And people are so intolerant sometimes. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Well, let's see. For me, you know, I always felt embarrassed at school because I was very unsuccessful at the sports events and activities. So, and even like at the gym part where you would have your PE class and you would have to do the evaluations with the different activities or exercises. So, for example, we would have to do arm pull-ups at the bar and then record how many you could do, push-ups, running, the mile was a big one. And I just was not very good at those things, and it was so embarrassing for me because I would be forced to get in line with everyone else, and everyone else was just so much better than me, and I would fail, or I would fall, or I would just struggle, and the gym teachers would get frustrated because they just couldn't convince me or my body to become accelerant at sports. So I was like, probably middle school was probably the hardest, maybe. Yeah, kids are ruthless. So I made it through, but pretty embarrassing moments. Yeah, not my shining graceful moment. No. Yeah, I mean, I can smile now, but boy, when I think about that back then, it was embarrassing, and embarrassment is very close to shame. If you think about that, it's a lot like the feelings we have when we're ashamed. So I would say not a pleasant experience, all in all. And, I hope that I don't do that to someone. I probably did at some point, though. Yeah. Wow. Well, that was kind of fun. I mean, educational and insightful. Definitely. If you'd like, I can write these notes up for you, and you can take a copy home. I can take it over to the copy machine and run some extra copy for you. Okay, good. Well, that's awesome. And then when do you want to come back next week? Or is it next month? If we decide. Let me get my schedule. And you're thinking do you want to do a middle of the week, or are you thinking end of the week, so maybe you're wrapping up your day? Yeah, let's go to this month. Oh, I must have filled up all these spots already. Jeez. Okay. So, is that okay if we do Wednesday? Okay. How late do you want to come? I can see people up through like 6 o'clock. So, 6 would be my latest. If you want to do a little bit earlier than that, it'd be nice, but I mean, it's fine either way. Okay, so we can do like 5 o'clock then. Just be sure to give yourself plenty of time to travel because that's going to be the rush hour too. So, same spot, same time, same place, same spot. I'll save you a seat. Okay. Bring your ideas for the next few months while we continue to explore ourselves in self-actualization. And if you enjoyed the Ungame, then we can certainly look at playing that again together in the coming weeks. So, great. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm glad to see you. Please take care. Be careful out there. And we'll talk to you next week or next month. Call me if you have any need to reschedule. Or if you have anything you need in the meantime. Okay, good. All right. Thank you. All right, you bet. Thanks, you bet. Take care. Have a good day.